Hello and welcome to the morning news. My name is Dino. And here is the story. Painful send-off. Chaos reigns as angry family members walk out of Danielle Rowe's funeral. More than a month after her murder, the Thanksgiving service for 8-year-old Danielle Rowe was marred yesterday by chaos brought on by a family dispute that denied her a dignified send-off. The funeral, which took place at the Portmore Seventh-day Adventist Church in St. Catherine, erupted into disorder soon after members of Danielle's family began leaving the building as her father, Norval Rowe, was speaking. The elder Rowe, who is a police corporal, was listed on the program to read the morning's first scripture from 1 Corinthians 15:50-58. While he spoke, Danielle's mother, Sudine Mason, was the first to exit the church. As the service progressed, many other family members and close friends proceeded to remove themselves from the church pews, leaving the Reverend Francis West, who was delivering the morning sermon. The relatives objected to the order of the service and claimed that they had been excluded. The aggrieved family members protested that elements of the funeral program, such as the withdrawal of some activities to be undertaken by some family members, went against their wishes. "It's not about them, it's about family. The mother never asked for that program. Dem reprogrammed everything. The opening prayer was supposed to be my mother. They put JCF, Jamaica Constabulary Force. Why? What they got to do with anything?" One family member questioned. Perceived government takeover. Eveth Thomas, Danielle's grandaunt, was at the center of the commotion that ensued because she was outraged by what she perceived to be a government takeover, though there was no evidence of such. New politics. She, Danielle, Naga down ina no politics. We knew wa dem speak. She shouted in anger, encouraging the other family members to end the funeral proceedings earlier than scheduled. Dem out o order fi tek me off a program and put people way we knew no, she continued. Attendee Carlene Smith, a former dancer and dancehall queen, persistently pleaded with the family to get along and go back inside the church. Listen, new man. Come together, all of you. Get the mommy, get everybody. It's your service. Just do it properly, Smith urged. Following the funeral, the Ministry of Education and Youth sought to counter claims made by Danielle's relatives, who insisted that the government was involved in amending aspects of the funeral program. In a statement, the ministry said that the government was not involved in the planning of the funeral and that Fable Williams had attended in her capacity as education minister and gave remarks. No other person from the government was engaged in the funeral, the statement read. Among those present at the service were Williams and a team from her ministry, Corporal Rohan James, chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, Isilin Golding, Custos Rotulorum of St. Catherine, Fitz Jackson, Member of Parliament, MP, for St. Catherine Southern, Leon Thomas, Mayor of Portmore, Commanding Officer for St. Catherine South, Superintendent Christopher Phillips, and other JCF personnel. Before Danielle's father read from the Bible, he thought back to the last time he had seen his angel, which was on May 16, the day she turned 8. "This is not a good day," he declared, referring to the fact that he had to bury his daughter, who he characterized as being the most loving and compassionate person he knew, and that she was not deserving of such a gruesome death. Abducted outside school. Young Danielle was abducted on June 8 from outside the school gates of Brayton Primary and Infant School, which is located in the St. Catherine South Police Division in which her father works. She had been left for dead with her throat slashed when she was found along Roosevelt Avenue in St. Andrew later in the day. She was subsequently transported to the Bustamante Hospital for Children, where she succumbed to her injuries 2 days later. Her horrific death has since sparked outrage island-wide and has led to several protests, with persons calling for a resumption of the death penalty for her killer. The latest protest was on Friday, when family and friends took to the streets bearing white placards smeared with red paint and marched at the intersection of Arthur Wint Drive and Roosevelt Avenue, close to where she was found. The autopsy that was conducted at House of Tranquility Funeral Home on June 19 revealed that Danielle died from an incised wound to the neck. The police revealed that it is believed that Danielle knew her killer. They also released a sketch developed using an electronic facial identification technique of a female of interest in the case. There has been a whole lot of speculations, a whole lot of rumors. Some absolutely disgusting statements have been made, the elder Rowe said. He continued by saying that his daughter, who desired to be a veterinarian, would constantly check on him to ensure that he was okay and to show her affection. Meanwhile, Danielle's mother was inconsolable throughout the service and at the burial site. Her screams of grief and despair being bellowed from her frail frame were a heart-wrenching sight to behold as she could not keep herself together and fainted repeatedly. She and other relatives were dressed in blue as this was Danielle's favorite color. Williams said in her remarks that many Jamaicans felt a range of emotions in response to the heinous act against Danielle, including anger and hurt. She added that this was made worse by the fact that the investigations have not yet determined who ought to be held accountable. As such, Williams encouraged the congregation to honor Danielle's memory by cherishing lives and spreading love. Let us be kinder to one another, more patient and more compassionate. That's what we need right now, she said. The minister also emphasized that Danielle was a child of much promise and potential, a daughter, a classmate, and a Jamaican who was described by her teachers as reserved, soft-spoken, and well-behaved. She was also among the top students at her institution, placing third overall and first among the girls in final exams. I ask, is there no one who saw anything that could help the police in their investigations? I appeal for anyone with information to step forward, as the attacker or attackers must be brought to justice, Williams said. Desecrated Jamaican flag behind chaos at the funeral of 8-year-old Danielle Rowe. The Jamaican flag is said to be one of the reasons behind the chaos that erupted at the funeral of 8-year-old Danielle Rowe on Sunday. According to a police source, the Jamaican flag was stuck with a knife and contained red paint, suggestive of blood splatter. It is said that the flag drew the ire of some of the officiating ministers, with a chaplain having tapped a senior police officer, asking him to intervene in the proceedings. I was not aware of what was going on. The police brought it to my attention that the chaplain wanted to talk to me about what was happening, said a police source. According to a police source, the Jamaican flag was stuck with a knife and contained red paint, suggestive of blood splatter. Kingston, Jamaica. The government was not involved in the planning of the funeral for 8-year-old Danielle Rowe, who was murdered in June. According to a statement on Sunday, Minister of Education, Fayval Williams attended the funeral service in her official capacity as minister and gave remarks. No other person from the government was engaged in the funeral. Reports reaching irie New Media TV are that the funeral service for Rowe was chaotic and disorganized. The government has again expressed its condolences to the family of the deceased and has renewed calls for the police to step up their investigation into her murder. Rowe was abducted from the Braden Primary and Infant School in Portmore, St. Catherine on Thursday, June 8 and was transported to Roosevelt Avenue in St. Andrew where her throat was slashed. She was found along the roadway by a soldier who took her to the nearby Bustamante Hospital for Children where she died in the early morning hours of Saturday, June 10. Viral sex video being investigated by JUC. The viral video of a man and woman engaging in a sex act on the steps of a bus has prompted an investigation by local authorities and officials from the state-owned Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC. Corporate Communications Manager at the JUC, Cecil Toms, has confirmed the probe. The JUC is aware of a video that has been making the rounds on social media showing two people engaging in sexual acts in what appears to be one of our buses, said Toms without confirming whether the bus actually belongs to the JUC. We wish to be unequivocal, that as a company, we do not condone lewd and lascivious behavior at the workplace or on our units. We take this matter seriously, and will investigate fully and fairly, he added. None of the two people in the video has been publicly identified. Two men arrested after robbery, shootout in Brays River, St. Elizabeth. St. Elizabeth police arrested two men following an attempted armed robbery in Brays River in the parish on Sunday. Reports are that about 3:45 a.m., a businessman who operates a bar in Brays River was alerted that his establishment was being burglarized. He visited the location and armed men greeted him with a volley of gunshots. The men then fled the scene in a Toyota Voxy motor vehicle. The police were alerted and shortly after, intercepted a Toyota Corolla motorcar that was reportedly being operated as a pilot motor vehicle in close proximity to where the shooting had occurred. The driver of the Toyota Corolla was also taken into custody. Shortly after, a team of officers intercepted the Toyota Voxy in Elam district in the parish. On the approach of the law enforcers, the men aboard the vehicle opened gunfire. The police returned fire, however 2 of the men escaped, while a third man was apprehended. In the end, 2 of the perpetrators were arrested and the 2 vehicles have been seized, pending further investigations by the police. 2 of the other men who escaped remain at large.